Hi, I'm Alina with J&L's Medical Transport. I was recently asked if a DOT number is required to operate a NEMT in Texas. I was really interested in finding the answer to that question. So I have performed the research and I am here to present to my Texan friends recommendations on how to start your non-emergency medical transportation company in Texas. For those of you new to entrepreneurship, these company setup skills are for you. On the other hand, if you have already set up an NEMT, I will include additional resources specifically for you. There is a lot of general information here in this video. I really need my viewers to like and subscribe to the channel, but most of all, I would really appreciate it if you leave a comment on specific questions you need to be answered. This will let me know I'm creating material that matters to you. It also helps the algorithm to help others get this information before they make critical mistakes. Now, here's what you will need to start a NEMT in Texas. These first two steps are the most critical in establishing realistic goals and ultimately increasing your company's sustainability. These two steps are market research and planning. Texas is the home to over 30 million people. The population continues to increase as residents from other states and countries continue to migrate to the Lone Star State. By understanding the demand for non-emergency transportation services in your area and assessing the competition, you will be able to identify your target customer more effectively. This will also help you to determine the best services to offer and identify opportunities for growth. Secondly, develop a business plan. A comprehensive business plan will help you to set goals, allocate resources, and identify potential challenges. This business plan will also be necessary if you plan to seek financing from investors or lenders. I offer a very detailed NEMT business plan that includes a SWOT analysis section and other key features to improve your business success. I encourage you to purchase my business plan template on my Etsy shop, Lena's Cornerstone. Now, let's get back into it. Once you have completed the planning process, it is time to obtain all necessary licenses and permits that will allow you to operate a transportation business in Texas. Be careful to ensure you have obtained any and all local licenses or permits required by your city or county. I will have more details on this a little later on in this video. After you are licensed and registered to operate, you will be required to obtain a state-issued transportation certificate from the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. This certificate allows you to transport passengers for compensation within Texas. Speaking of compensation, now that you have completed the research and planning sections of your company setup, it would be wise to begin thinking about financing. You may find the need to secure financing to cover startup costs. Costs can quickly add up. The largest purchases to be expected are vehicle purchases and insurance. You may also require working capital to cover operating expenses until your business becomes profitable. My suggestion is to maintain your 9-to-5 until you have everything I am sharing with you in place. After you have secured your working capital, begin the process of purchasing or leasing vehicles and equipment. Keep in mind that depending on the services you are intending to provide, items such as GPS systems, two-way radios, and patient lifts may need to be purchased. Once you have purchased the equipment for the company, begin to hire staff. Depending on the size of your business, you may need to hire drivers, dispatchers, and administrative staff to support your operations. It is important to establish strong policies and procedures from the start. Developing clear policies and procedures for your drivers and staff to follow, including safety protocols, customer service procedures, and vehicle maintenance schedules, will allow your company to scale more efficiently when it is time. Also, as a reminder, Texas has very specific details on how your company policies should be written. If your intent is to work with the state's Medicaid program and brokers, be sure to adhere to all the guidelines required by the state. I will leave a link in the description box for the Medical Provider Transportation Program application. Next up is to develop a marketing and promotion strategy to attract customers and build your brand. This may include advertising, public relations, and partnerships with healthcare providers and community organizations, or setting up your own YouTube channel to help others learn more about NEMT. These are all marketing tactics that can improve your chances for success in non-emergency medical transportation. All right, this concludes the first section for new entrepreneurs. Just remember, market research and planning will help the odds to be forever in your favor. If I still have you this far, let's dig in a little deeper. For those of you that have already established your company and may be seeking more specific information, I'm listing a few tips that may help you out. If you have further questions, leave a comment with your question and I will do my best to follow up. In order to operate a transportation business in Texas, you will need to obtain the following: a state transportation certificate. You will need to obtain a state-issued transportation certificate, also known as a certificate of need, from the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. This certificate allows you to transport passengers for compensation within Texas. As part of your company setup, you should have obtained a tax ID number. You will need to obtain a federal tax ID number from the Internal Revenue Services to use for tax purposes if you have not already done so. Do not pay for this. It is completely free. I will leave the information in the description box below. In addition to a federal ID tax number, you will need a National Provider Identifier, also known as an NPI. The NPI is required to operate a non-emergency medical transportation company in Texas. The NPI is a unique 10-digit identification set of numbers assigned to healthcare providers and organizations by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, also known as CMS. NEMT providers in Texas are considered healthcare providers and as such are required to obtain an NPI. This NPI is used to identify the provider in standard transactions such as billing for services provided to Medicaid and Medicare beneficiaries. Additionally, many commercial insurance carriers also require NPI numbers to process claims. Speaking of commercial insurance, the amount of general liability insurance that a Texas NEMT company needs can depend on several factors, including the size of the business, the number of vehicles and drivers, and the level of risk associated with the business. Surprisingly, in Texas, the state does not require NEMT businesses to carry general liability insurance, but it is generally recommended to protect against potential lawsuits and claims. A standard general liability insurance policy for NEMT businesses typically covers bodily injury, property damage, and personal injury claims, among others. The average amount of coverage needed can vary, but a minimum of $1 million in general liability coverage is often recommended for NEMT. Now, to answer our big question, do you need a DOT number to operate in Texas? The answer is no. for commercial motor carriers that operate across straight lines and are subject to federal regulation. For our final frequently asked question, is the NEMT business profitable? NEMT can be profitable in Texas if you can establish a reliable customer base, operate efficiently, and manage costs effectively. It is important to conduct market research and create a solid business plan to determine the feasibility and profitability. So my Texas entrepreneurs and friends, here is the information you have requested. If you have additional questions, feel free to leave a comment below and be sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching and be blessed.